Hey everybody, it's Adam Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology, and I'm just checking in today on October 2nd to talk about today's Mercury-Pluto square. So this is something new that I'm doing each month, trying to follow up on most of the particular dynamics of the month that I write about in the overall monthly columns and in all of my horoscope columns. Typically, I do a mix of video and written content on everything. I'm trying to do a little bit more short video content on some of these transits, so hopefully you guys will like this. Anyway, today is Mercury square Pluto, and the first big transit of October. So let's take a look. So first of all, you'll see you can see it perfecting on the chart wheel here. Let's see. So here's Mercury in Libra and coming through the square to Pluto in Capricorn. So that's going to be perfecting in the next 24 hours. So that's a pretty intense transit to start the month with. In today's written column, if you ever want to get the written edition of what I'm writing, you can always go to my Facebook page, Adam Elenbaas, or you can go to nightlightastrology.com to find it. But here are some of the things that you might notice with this particular transit. Mercury is the planet that rules the mind, communication, speech, intelligence, technology. Mercury, of course, Hermes in Greek mythology, and then Pluto, who's Hades in Greek mythology and Lord of the Underworld. So when you get the planet related to the mind, the intellect, rationality, intelligence, paired up with Lord of the Underworld, what kind of things might you have? Well, the nature of the aspect always tells us a lot about what kind of things you might see. A square is of the nature of Mars, a little bit more contention between Mercury and Pluto right now. That could be, for example, a transformative communication of some kind, a difficult email, a difficult exchange at work, a difficult conversation in your marriage or relationship. Why difficult? Because Pluto brings things up that we don't always want to look at, or it brings up power issues about power and disempowerment. And Mercury and Pluto in a square with one another can be about empowerment or disempowerment in speech and writing and thinking and communicating, power struggles. It can also be about an important, stunning, or shocking piece of information, something that comes up that's a little disturbing. Sometimes there's just more anxiety than usual, or a sense of foreboding or fear. The mind is just preoccupied with fearful things. The Mercury in Libra is a very balanced, kind of mental air sign. And so also the temptation to try to rationalize or make something look nice mentally, or the way that you tell something to somebody, trying to make it look nice or pretty when really it might be kind of heavy and difficult. Be careful not to, whitewash things or kind of try to make things nicer than they have to be, but also don't make things unnecessarily dramatic, dark, heavy, gossipy, whatever. Disclosure, confession, and revelation. Don't be surprised if things come forward to the surface that need to be looked at or talked about, especially from sort of repressed or hidden places. Be careful of the attempt to manipulate information in a way that suits you, or that you can get something from somebody or someone doing that to you. Don't be surprised if you have a change of mind, if suddenly you have some insights that are pretty deep or surprising. Intellectual depth is sort of generally signified by Mercury square Pluto, but it usually has a kind of the desire to penetrate into the heart of something, or to be penetrated by a deep conversation with somebody, for the heart to be involved in the exchange is very important today. It can very easily turn into just a kind of top-heavy, mental and complex and sort of charged and dramatic kind of energy. And if we can bring in some truth and honesty and depth and authenticity, it's going to be a lot easier. So naming the elephant in the room, sometimes that's a Mercury-Pluto situation. Gossip in the way that speech can hurt or harm one another, and the need for greater diplomacy or peace in the way that we speak, think about ourselves internally. That inner judge of Libra can be sometimes very self-centered and vain, sometimes can look inwardly and judge in very superficial ways. You got to watch for triangulation dynamics in relationships, where we try to play people against one another for the sake of power or winning or whatever. A teaching moment, there can be powerful teaching moments that can come through. getting to the bottom of something. Also, you think about the messenger or the message from the underworld. You think about criminal investigations or investigating things that are hidden or off limits or taboo or subversive, political correctness and incorrectness, and the way that both concepts can also be manipulated for selfish reasons. Receiving constructive criticism. It's a good time to find a teacher, to be a teacher. It's also a time where teachers or teachings may be off in some way and you have to go deeper to explore them. Perfectionism and discipline, right? This is kind of Pluto and Saturn's Capricorn sign, and Mercury and Libra, this idea of being perfect or obsessing over getting the details perfectly right versus a heart and soul-centered communication with others. Those kinds of things, looking for the balance between those kinds of things, right now, very important. So the prayer that I wrote for today was very simple. When I was a kid growing up in the Christian church, there was a saying that there is a peace that passes understanding. And I like to think about that when it's such a mental transit comes up, that real peace is often not found in trying to solve things mentally. It's, for me as a student of yoga, it's often found in your breath, or just being present and trying to return to the basic practices that help us return to our hearts. So I wrote, remind us of the peace that passes understanding, and give us the intelligence by means of which we may come to know you more intimately. For me, I'm personally interested in trying to move closer to that divine original source that I'm a part of. And in a transit like this, I always take a moment to just pray that all of these themes that we've been talking about, like, they apply to our lives, but there's also a spiritual opportunity to grow our intelligence spiritually so that we might become just a little tiny bit more enlightened, maybe. So that's what I've got for you guys today. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week. This transit will be in effect for the next few days, but today, the next 24 hours especially. All right, take care. Bye.